how you pronounce it, Esther. I'm at CLE, so the Director for Online Language Education. So I'll hope to teach you a little bit about what you can do when it comes to speaking. The biggest challenge probably in online classes. I see lots of people nodding. I would say it's not the biggest challenge. So I hope you at the end of today's class or workshop you can say the same. And as a real teacher, I'll start at the back of this workshop. As you know, there's always a pre-workshop evaluation, but there's also a post-workshop evaluation. And I would like to look at that for a bit. What I'll do is I'll show you a couple of those things briefly. I'll show you Adobe Connect maybe for 20 minutes. I hope you can do it yourself too, but then I'll stop. When you look at Linda, everybody is familiar with lynda.com?
No.
I'll show you what it is. That's the easiest way. At lynda.com you can find everything about different programs. For instance, about Adobe Connect. When you look how much material they have online to explain everything from Adobe Connect, I think it's 13 hours. I try to do it in 20 minutes, so you can understand I have to skip a lot, right? So you can find things there, but I think for many of us, or maybe I'm just speaking for myself, it works best if you're doing it yourself, right? Yeah. You can look at an explanation, and then it's still different if you try to do it yourself. So all the things I do today, not all of them, but many of them I've done the last workshop or workshops. If you think I need more instruction or help doing those, please put a cross in front of it. You can also write after on this paper, right? And that's the same with 3 other comments and suggestions. We have been talking at CLE about maybe making it more about pedagogy, didactics. If you think, okay, one of them is here, didactics, teaching an online language class. How do you do so? And I put online between parentheses because what you can do online, you can do on campus, right? So if you have other requests, can you do something about the standards in language teaching? Can you do something about how do I make sure that whatever you want to do in an online class, please feel free to add as many comments as you like. That's very helpful for us, right? Also, if you think I'm missing out on stuff, of course, that's also part. So please feel free to add as many things as possible. We really appreciate your input there, and we're here to serve you. So whatever you would like to do, we try to do. I don't say we do, but we try to do, right? Okay, so but that's for the end of this workshop. So what I'll do today is talk about cookies, right? Oh no, I'm not talking about cookies. I'm crazy about cookies. Cookie is a Dutch word, and the Dutch are famous for cookies, so that's why. So what I try to do today, I try to give you a taste, a little bit of many things, and see if you like it. What I will do too, for every new topic, I will ask you, is this interesting, or do you know everything about it? Then I'll skip that, if the majority would say so. Right, so I'll do, that's the first topic, Adobe Connect. I could do that for 20 minutes, I'll try. Can do that for 4 hours, or 2 days, or 10 days, so that can be a long topic. So it's very useful, I would say, especially for an online language class. Then oral quizzes. I'll show you a bit of a new type of oral quiz maybe. I stole this topic, what it looks like from the Germanic studies people in German on regular on-campus classes. They ask students to do an online quiz, a graded quiz, kind of a midterm, so I'll show you how it works. more or less. It's difficult to explain because you have to go through many steps of Canvas. I'll talk a little bit about Quizlet, maybe, if you know that. Kaltura, that's interesting too, for, I would say, a storage room for videos, but it can be much more. Video blog, somebody is coming in who's teaching an online language class, and they use video blogs, and she will tell everything about that. I'm not an expert there. And coming to that point, I'm not an expert in anything. I know a little bit of everything, right? So don't be surprised if you ask me something about Kaltura, for instance. I know basically what it's about, why it might work well in language class, but I'm not an expert in telling you what you can all do, right? So I hope you will be a little bit lenient with me in that respect. And of course there will be questions and answers at the end. As you can see, there's one thing missing, a break. Do you want a break? So I would say I will be here all the time, but if you need a small break, let's say after oral quizzes, please go ahead. I'll wait for you with Quizlet, right? But only maximum 5 minutes. When you really think I need a break from all that online thing. May I have a show of hands? How many of you are actually teaching online language class right now? Ooh, that's interesting. How many of you will be teaching an online class, let's say in 2016? Can be in spring, can be in fall.
I don't know, honestly.
Okay, a little bit more. That's probably why you're here, right? Okay, I'll start with telling you the good news. We use Canvas at campus, and that's an excellent tool when it comes to online classes because it's well structured. I talked about modules in the previous workshop. I talked about many things. I only will talk about Adobe Connect today. Everybody knows what Adobe Connect is? Adobe Connect is for web conferencing, for instance, they say. So I always tell from my own experience, right? So I'm teaching Dutch in Michigan, South Carolina, and Germany right now, students on exchange. And for language, what do you need to do? You need to speak, right? You can do all kinds of vocab and grammar activities by yourself, but you need to be able to speak with your students. And for that, I use Adobe Connect. And Adobe Connect, I'll show you what my Adobe Connect site looks like. I hope you can set up your own Adobe Connect site today. Who has an Adobe Connect login at the moment? Only 1, 2? Okay, so that's very essential. The good news also is that, as you know, or hopefully know in Canvas, you have all kinds of things in the left-hand column, right? Kaltura is one of them. Adobe Conferences is one. I don't know if you have looked at conferences. The people who really know about technology, not me, the people who really know about technology, they said conferences is not good enough. It's like Skype, I would say. Skype is good for direct communication, but you want to do more. Adobe Connect, Adobe Connect has answers, and I'll show you how it works in my online language classes. And Adobe Connect will be incorporated into Canvas in the future. So that will be very, very helpful, and I'll tell you later why. Okay, so let's start with Adobe Connect. And let's make it difficult first. So I told you that conferences, the real technology people, as I said before, don't like that too much. So you can skip that. You can do that for office hours, for instance. Like you could use Skype for office hours. And it's free for you. IU has a, what do you call that? Subscription? Subscription, that's something else. It's not medication, right? So has a subscription. So you can apply for an Adobe Connect user thing. The good thing is that it's free for you, and also students don't need their subscription on that. You only give them a URL and then they know where to log in. So what I'm going to do now is, let me see, 1 second. So maybe we are going to try to start up an Adobe Connect room. And I have a handout for everything except the last part of this class, the workshop today. When you see here, I'll hand it out in 2 seconds. You see here a general description about Adobe Connect, and then you see the word first. First you have to request an account. And there are several steps what you need to do. You have to go to collaborationiu.edu. So do you think you are willing to do that today, now, in the next minutes? Send up an Adobe thing. Let's see. Oh, you get it. Are you using Alexa?
No, I just.
Okay, then you won't get a handout. Yeah, I'm very stingy. So you see, you have to go to collaborations.iu.edu. So if you're there, I cannot do it because I'm logged into Adobe Connect. Everybody there at the first step? When you see the website from collaboration.iu.edu, then you have to click on the middle tab, I believe it is, it's web conferencing. I cannot see what you're doing, so I will be walking around. If you need my help, just shout out. Yeah, and there it says, click on in that screen from connections.iu.edu and web conferencing. Click on what you see italic IU Connect support menu. Sorry. Yeah, you already. I'm on Adobe Connect. Yeah. And then click on installing the Adobe Connect add-in. If you would say, I cannot do it right now, for whatever reason, then you can just see what I will be doing in a second, right? But this is the way how you can get an Adobe Connect permission, if you like, to start it up. Can I continue? Okay. Because then, if you are logging into Adobe Connect, you use your regular IU user username and password. I was missing. If you do so, when you're logged into Adobe Connect, you end up with something similar than this, but maybe without this. As you can see, I have a couple of rooms specifically for students. If you do so, that helps, I think. So, what you can do now, and I have it printed out for you, because you'll see the same screen, and I thought I'll make a print screen that you know what to do the next time when you see this. So maybe if you use one, you will see what I'll do now. So when you're in Adobe Connect, you see several tabs. So I'm going through most of them. I'll start this, new meeting, right? A new meeting. And there you can standardly make your own first Adobe Connect virtual classroom. So if you click on new meeting, I'll do that too. Oh, I have to log in again. That can be the annoying thing from Adobe Connect. If you haven't touched the button, then suddenly you have to log in again. So when you start a new meeting, it looks like this. right? It looks like the handout I just found out. The most important thing is that there are only two things you really have to answer. You see these red asterisks? Those are the only things you're supposed to fill out or fill in. So I would make it, just to make it a new meeting specifically for you, I'll give it a name. I'll call it CLE test.
Go ahead, keep it on the screen.
Right? So you give it a name. I have first year online, second year online, so you have to make it clear and use a good name so you can recognize it immediately. CLE test, I don't have any other with that name, so that's fine. Then you see a custom URL. This is for the students, the URL you'll give your students. So you have to make it not abracadabra, so it has to be a little bit normal too. Like I said, I have first year online, PSTS online. I'll make it again for CLE now. I'll say CLE test. So if I give you that name, in a couple of minutes you can log into my virtual CLE test room. You don't have to give a summary unless you like to describe things. I never use that. You don't have to say start time and how long it will take. You start a room and until the day you delete it, it will be there. So don't bother about saying when it will start. Don't bother about the time. I would say, for me, when you click on language, I can choose Netherlands, I can choose Dutch. I wouldn't recommend that because then everything will be in the language. And first year is a little bit difficult if you have a problem to also do it in your language. So I stick to English. That's the easiest one for me. The same for Canvas. You can also choose a language for Canvas. I only do that for third year. That can be a bit tricky. So for instruction I would keep English. So I'll keep English. Then this one is interesting. Of the three, automatically by default, they say only registered users, but that's too much trouble for me. So what I do is anyone who has this URL for the meeting can enter the room. Might be tricky, but not so bad. So I'll say anyone, so you can choose to do so later. And I just finish. So there's more information, and I'll give you a site where you can look up what all of that means, but I don't care too much. I'll say finish. So now I have a virtual classroom called CLE test. So when you see the URL, connect.eu.edu CLE test, that's what students or what you can have, and you put that in their hands and they can enter when they like, or when you tell them you have to meet me for speaking activities. Because I use Adobe Connect not for grammar, not for vocab, not really for testing. I use it 90 or 95% only for speaking activities for the students. I know how to speak Dutch, so I know how to speak. But it's all about speaking opportunities. And the good thing, when Adobe Connect will be incorporated in Canvas, students have access to the technology, so they can set up their own virtual classroom and meet with a fellow student to practice or to chat or whatever they want to do. So when Adobe Connect will be part of Canvas, for students it will be very good. Even if they're in Germany or on the West Coast, East Coast, they can set a time and say, okay, let's meet in the room and practice before we have to take a test, but just because we want to practice more. So it will be very helpful when it's incorporated in Canvas. As you can see, you can click on this, or you can just say enter the meeting room. And what you'll see in the enter the meeting room.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to have that that thing on our You know, I'm still on installing the Adobe Connect add-in. It's okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
For me, the most important thing is that you know now how to have the right things for Adobe Connect, and then you can start your own room. Doesn't have to be necessarily at this very moment. Can be. I don't know how long it will still will take. Sorry for my. So are you still installing the Adobe?
Yes.
Yeah, loading, still loading, Adobe Connect.
I'm sorry, but I can't.
This one, Adobe Connect.
And the more important way to do it. Here you are. No, just go there.
Okay.
I don't have but you know, I won't remember if I don't have it.
She just does the same thing. It just needs to create a profile for you.
And that's all?
Just the same thing. Yeah. Go down. So I guess you just wait for the next thing. Do Adobe. Okay, so say CLE test 1, CLE test 2, and I would pick it up and match. So I use yeah, just the uniques. 1 or 2 or something. Yeah, and make that up there and pick it. Because clearly somebody already has that. But you will get one. Yeah. And then just hit finish. Yeah. I think that's like
What I'll do is I'll finish my story and then I'll work with a couple of you separately, right? And we'll try to go over it together. Were you successful in creating a new room?
Yes. Yes. But I can walk in and remember and try it. I don't know.
So they don't have a
What can we
item
do?
accounts.
I have other account, but I don't have this account. Adobe Connect account.
Yeah.
First request an account to go to this.
Are you
file.
a student at the moment or are you teaching also?
Teaching. I do account, but I don't have Adobe Connect account. Because I follow this and first request an account to go to
Well,
collaboration.
request is on the computer requesting, right? It's not there. Let me continue, and in 5 minutes we continue, and then I'll try to help you. Is that a good thing? Yes? Is that okay? Okay. So when you're successful, let's make it a positive thing. Then you end up in your first new meeting room. You'll see this, right? And what you'll see, there are different things. There are video, there's F&D list, there's a welcome slide, there's chat. So now, if you don't mind, I'll show you what my site looks like, and then I can tell you what's all there. So, if I can come in there. I'll go to my meetings. Is Nederlands in. So again, for me, speaking is the main target here. And as you can see, I have an F&D list, and I'm there twice. That happens sometimes if you don't log out, no problem. Students sometimes see the same, then you see 2 students, just delete one. And as you can see, I always leave the chat on, just to make sure if somebody has a problem, and how can they communicate with you? How can they say, I don't see anything or don't hear anything? then they can still use the chat room. This is my very first slide in what they see the very first time in class. So I say, welcome to Dutch Online, that's mixed between English and Dutch. You see a picture, and you see a huge field for a webcam. So what I ask students, the only thing they have to buy to be part of my class, besides paying a fee of course, they need to have a headset and a webcam. And when they say, I have a built-in microphone in my computer, they'll say, no. Buy a separate headset, because if they use the microphone in the computer, then you will hear it in echoes going around. You hear it from all the different computers. So a headset is essential. Built-in webcam is no problem. You have to be able to communicate. So, and here I have signed in with my webcam, but you can give them permission to use a webcam. You have to do that before, and you have to give them permission to use the mics. And I have here, there's a whole series of instructions I gave them before the first meeting. I can send that to you later. What do you do if there is a problem? If I had a student who had not Windows, well, something similar to Windows XP, and then you freeze over, and so you have to have updated things, and I'll show you that later. That's all available online. So I have this. So this is the very first time, and I have a huge part for the videos. My classes, well, I have 2 till 8 students online at the moment, and they all will fit in here. But I also, I told you can take 4 days to talk about it. I have all kinds of layouts. So after the very first time in the class, I'll use this layout most of the time. Because the cool thing, Adobe can make a lot of different slides like that, or you can do the lazy thing like I do. I mostly use this one. What you can see, I always copy what is the homework for that day, so they know again when they see that. I can use a picture, I can use notes, so while we are speaking, I can make notes about, okay, don't forget this, not too much. It's always, you don't want them to read too much and to be distracted, but you can write some notes. And I have a special thing I used the first time we were talking about making appointments in the Netherlands, and that's how that goes. So students will perform different tasks. I listen in, I make notes if necessary, or if I think that will make it better, because you don't want to correct them all the time, right? Only when it's good. So you can have notes, and I'll give you some examples, and then we can work in small groups. So I have also this, and what you see when you make layouts, I always have the video in the top right corner, and it's almost always the same form. So students are not, where you go, right? So I always have it at the same time. Again, you see some notes. This is what the student asked. I don't like to go over too much grammar, but she said, please, can you explain it to me? So after the speaking part, I explain it. And you can also see, you can incorporate PowerPoints. So I can use that. As you see, I like colors and abbreviations, so you can go through PowerPoint, you know, do all kinds of stuff, blah, blah. Okay, my favorite guy in the world, Jan. So you can use PowerPoint. The only thing you have to keep in mind, Adobe Connect, when it incorporates your PowerPoint, it changes stuff. Then suddenly this word is not here, but there. So it changes, so you always have to practice and see if it's working all right. And my advice, make the PowerPoints as short as possible. So divide it in different ones if you like. I use it mostly for things like this, a picture they have to discuss. But if you use PowerPoints, test it out how it will be transformed in Adobe Connect. So we can use PowerPoints. I have another slide here. You see this is always the same place, the same, how big it is. And you can do listening activities. So I don't do that often, only in chapter 6 in this case, because I like them to speak as much. But you could do listening thing. So you see there are I cannot count, 3 different audio files. And when we listen to one of them, I have a couple of multiple choice questions, maybe not the best thing, but I do it very, maybe twice a semester max. And then they can fill in what they think is the right answer, and then you can show all the responses at the end. So you can do that. I only do that, as I said, once or twice a semester. But as you can see, I have it here. Because if you think, okay, I don't need that anymore, click delete, then there's no undo button in Adobe Connect. So whatever you say, delete, it's gone, right? Same here. Let's go to the previous one. A little bit difficult to find. So for instance, if you think, okay, this is nice, I can use it many times, but okay, now I don't need it anymore. If you select everything and you say delete, it's gone forever. So if you have a very special pod, you can see they're all called pods. They're on top of the screen. There are pods here. You can use share pods, note pods, whatever you like. You can make it as you prefer. But whatever you delete, it's gone. Another thing you can also say, I don't care about all those fancy things. Oh, my. Ha! No delete. Just put
How
my
do we
own
avoid
point.
that?
You can also say, I only want to speak and I don't want any distractions, so we do it like this. Everybody logs in and then the head will be a bit bigger, of course, so that's what you can do too. Also a good feature of Adobe Connect is that you can record a session and make it available to the students who want to listen again, or those who said, I'm sorry, I have to miss class today. They can see what we've done in class. So you can record it and make it available to everybody and anybody. So I think what we should do now is try to partly create your own new room, and then I can walk around and see if I can help you. So just use a little bit, poke around and see what's all available, especially there on the pods, and just create a couple of pods, shove it around and see what's happening. So I'll give you 5 minutes to work on your own, and I will be coming by, hopefully with good advice. Okay.
We're making a new layout, right? I clicked on new layout, but I don't understand what I can do to make it look like yours. To have different, not like this, but to have different quadrants and things like that. Is that possible?
That's the good thing and the bad thing. If you make it many years ago and you don't have to change it, you don't remember too well maybe. So, because you can make templates well, there's so many things. So you can say create new layout, and then you see a blank screen and you put in different parts and you give that layout a name, and then it will be there.
So put in, oh, I see.
Pods, sorry. Pods.
Okay, marijuana, yeah.
Oh, I'm Dutch, but not that Dutch. So fill in some pods and see what you would like to do. So create a name for your new layout. As you can see, I have one. The first one is called welcome. So welcome.
Okay, thank you. Can I
And that's what you always see. And you can use that in next virtual rooms too. So, but I'll make some lights and I will be coming back.
themselves, or even sometimes not even a recording. It's just simply a prompt. So today, please record yourself, that would be in Italian, speaking for 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, about your day. Be creative, go outside, show us what you do, how you do it, when you do it, okay? And the students actually tend to have really a lot of fun with these video diaries. Let's give me a second. I'll just show you, I prepared a very short PowerPoint, and then if you want to see example, I can show them to you as well. So the students then record themselves speaking, okay, and the video, of course, for 4 or 5 minutes. And they post it on Canvas 2 nights before we meet in our virtual classroom. Our courses have virtual classrooms. We meet once a week to practice speaking. And the students have the peer reviews assigned, so they have partners assigned for their video diary. Each time we change the partner. And the students are required to watch the video diaries of the other students, okay? And then during the at the beginning of the, basically of the class, of our meeting, virtual meeting, we ask the students to summarize what they've seen, okay, basically. Sometimes also prepare questions. It depends on what the topic is. The topics are connected to, of course, either to vocabulary or to grammar that they are doing. So like at M100, we don't start the video diaries until the mid of the semester because they don't have so much to say, really, okay? So we wait until mid-semester and we ask them to talk about their friends. Present us your friends. And they go with the video camera, okay? And they actually introduce the friends to us, which is nice because we then take Italian outside of the building, and that's what we want to do. We want to promote the language. Oh no, sorry, I'm sorry, I thought you had a question, I'm sorry. Or present us your family. Talk about your family. And I had students that were showing preparation for Thanksgiving with their family while presenting their family. There are also cultural diaries. Compare your city, of course, depending on the level, right, of instruction. Compare your the city where you come from to the city to one of the Italian cities that you know. Okay, and it's for us. Of course, the students cannot read, and that's a big difficulty because the students read. They tend to read. They tend to prepare everything and to read. The only way is from the very beginning. Let them know that we are going to take a lot of points off if they do it. There is no reading in these assignments. So the students learn very quickly that it's not worth it, that it's more worth it to just speak and make mistakes than read the things that they prepared. Because we see immediately if they read. I mean, in a video recording, you can recognize in 2 seconds from the beginning that the student is reading or not. So our, generally speaking, our courses have M105 video diaries, M159 midterm oral exam is exact same as in our actual classroom. There is no difference. We have pictures on Canvas, we have prompts, the students have to meet outside of the classroom, virtually, of course, prepare the exam, and we meet with them outside of the classroom. The final oral project is a very long video diary. It's a 10 minutes video diary. We ask them to videotape their whole week. Okay? Not, of course, all the time, but the fun things that they do. And they can choose a normal week, a school week, or they can choose a special week. Okay? And sorry, that's where somebody was talking about Thanksgiving, actually, in this case. And they were teaching their parents to speak Italian. That was really, actually, that was really nice. Or they meet random people in the library, and they make them speak Italian. Those are really very nice things. And then the other students have to, again, watch the video diaries, each other's video diaries, and prepare additional questions for the students. Okay, so that way I have a summary from the student that is watching, and I have a discussion between the two of them and the comparison of the 2 weeks that they proposed. Okay, so this is for our And the project at M150 is very similar, but they have to use future and present and tense and past tense. Where at the M100 they just use present tense, basically, because that's what we mainly concentrate on. Okay. In the second year, we have 10 video diaries, and again, the midterm oral exams are exactly as the ones in our class. So there is a role play and there is the debate. So we don't change anything in the prompts, apart from the fact that they have to meet outside of the classroom. I mean, well, they have to meet outside of the classroom to prepare with their classmates in the real classroom too, but we require them to meet in an online environment, so Adobe Connect. Adobe Connect never shuts down, as you probably already know, unless you log out. So I never log out, and the students can go there even if I'm not there, and just talk to each other. And the final oral exams, actually, in our M200, we have, this is a multi-step project. The students have to write third writing on a topic of their choice, cultural topic of their choice. We give them ideas, but they choose what they want to talk about. And then they have to choose carefully, because we tell them that they will have to interview any Italian, we don't care who it is. We help them, giving them emails of our instructors, okay, as the start. But generally speaking, we do not need to know who this person is, what they do, you know what I'm saying? It has to be a native speaker Italian, and they have to interview this Italian person about their topic. So if they wrote about soccer, let's say soccer is a very popular sport in Italy, so they talk to the Italian, they prepare the questions, and my suggestions were, well, do you like soccer, do you play soccer, do you watch soccer, what do you watch, what team do you cheer for, etc., etc., right? The interview has to last 10 minutes, and they have to videotape it, and it has to be in the target language. Okay. Then they post this interview, of course, with the permission of the person that they interviewed, and again, then watch each other's interviews, and the other person has to summarize the views and ask a few additional questions to the person that was interviewing the Italian. Okay. Actually, the students have a lot of fun with this project because they really like to go out there and to meet somebody who speaks Italian, and they can do it online. They don't have to do it in person. That's the idea. And the final oral in M250 is just a simple cultural project based really on the same idea of writing a paper on a cultural topic. They have much less choice as far as the choice of the topic. It's much more connected to the topics that we worked on during the semester, and they are much more ambitious. So it can be politics, immigration, much more difficult topics to talk about. And then they have to create a video diary, a presentation on that topic. They could do it in class as well, right? I mean, that's what our students do in class. They present in class in front of us. We ask them to record it, so then again they can watch it. Okay, they can watch each other's diaries, and we can have a discussion in the virtual classroom about what they've seen. Okay? Do you have any questions so far? Yes?
When you say that they ask, the people who are watching the video ask questions of the person, do you email those questions to the person?
No.
Or,
No, it has
this
to be
isn't live, the
spontaneous.
person's not live.
No, the person that was interviewing.
Oh, the one
So,
doing
yes,
the interview.
Yes,
Got it.
Well, it can be, yes, it would be perfect, but then it wouldn't be an oral production. So we are trying, right? So we are trying to just add any additional questions they might have to each other.
Yeah.
How was it to interview? How did you feel? What did you do? Why did you ask this question? So it's more towards that, towards the analysis of what they did than the cultural topic.
So the purpose is to find out about the interview process and not to interact
Yes,
with
more
the
about
native speaker.
Yes, more about
Got
the
it, got it.
interview process. Or any cultural questions, since they are the experts, right?
Cool.
They are the experts of the topic. It might be also the cultural question that they want to ask. And that's fine. I mean, it's more than welcome. But it doesn't have to be. Okay? But they ask each other. They ask the questions each other.
When did you say you begin this in the first year level?
I'm sorry?
You use this for the elementary,
Mhm.
the video diaries. At what stage?
We start, since we have only 5 of them, we start around when they actually learn the first group of regular verbs. So when they actually can speak for 3 minutes, okay? So when we talk about free time and free activities, so what do you do during your weekend? How do you spend your free time? Talk about it. And that pretty much is the chapter 2, so that will be week 6, around week 6 of the semester.
Week 6,
Mm-hmm.
before they can do conversation.
Well, it's not, that's the point. It's not the conversation. They can converse from the first day. But what can they say? They can say, hi, what's your name? You know, they have language chunks, but they can't really produce a paragraph or, you know, a speech talk for 3 minutes by themselves. Until they get the regular verbs, the first group of the regular verbs. That's where they can really start producing. And in our textbooks, the regular verbs arrive around week 5 or 6. I really don't remember exactly. But that's where they start producing the video diaries. Yes, in my virtual classroom, we have conversations in Italian from the first day. We have an hour and 15 minutes of conversation every week. And we try to keep our virtual classroom for speaking and not for going over the grammar. And that has been a big battle with the students. Because the students think that they will come to my virtual classroom and they will get the grammar explanation. They want me to lecture them. They even call it lecture. And I don't give it to them. Unless I give it to them, better my evaluations are, actually. It's funny because they seem to want them more if I give them anything. So, you know, give them a finger, they will want the whole hand, and that's exactly how it works, at least in my case. If I don't give them the finger, they don't think about the whole hand, and they start learning on their own. They have my office hours to come and go over grammar with me. I'm available. But they do not, they cannot expect to come and me lecture them during my virtual classroom. My virtual classroom is for speaking and for being in groups, in pairs, just like in my real classroom. So this is actually the 9th week of my lesson, what I do. It's not like I completely don't do any exercises of, you know, grammatical, if I know that there's something more difficult. But, I mean, I start with them trying to come up what happened since we learned past tense, what happens to this lady? Why is she in a beautiful bridal
This
dress?
is just a normal Italian speaker speaking normal Italian, right? This was a joke.
I wish. I'm sorry, now I get it. Yeah, it almost is actually. Well, maybe she would not be so angry though. But she would be gesticulating. So, I mean, that's the first thing we do. They go into breakout rooms and they prepare me a story about what happened to this lady using imperfetto and passato prossimo. Then we do an exercise. I'm nice. Here I was nice because imperfetto and passato prossimo is really difficult for the students. Okay? That's all. Okay? Then they have to talk about the, you know, personaggi of the favola and choose 3 of them that they really like and really tell me how they were, what they were doing, and then tell me their story. Okay? Then they actually watched a short movie for that day. So we are talking about the problems if one is born as a bully or you become a bully. So it's a discussion, it's a debate, right? Then they have to make up a dialogue between somebody who is a bully and somebody who is a nerd, okay, in Italian. So, I mean, it's all the time. Here, actually, we are reading and we are trying to decide. So this is very much inductive. We read aloud this text and then they're trying to decide when to use passato prossimo and perfetto. Sorry, the first one was just for passato. Then they have one more exercise and then they have to make up 2 stories. And this is all in an hour, 15 minutes. And they do it because I have 8 people in my class. It's a boot camp, but I meet them once a week, right? So they spoke my grammar presentation and you know, talking about grammar took me literally 10 minutes within this lesson plan. I am really fast with grammar. And if they don't understand, they have to come to see me, and then we will talk. So that's pretty much what I have to say. If you have any questions, please.
All in Adobe Connect, right?
Hmm?
And all in Adobe Connect.
Well, the problem is that there are so many great programs for video conferencing, and I talked with people from Adobe Connect, helped the Adobe Connect help desk many times, and they were trying to convince me you have to use something else. And I said I cannot use anything else because it doesn't allow me to use breakout rooms. And that's the thing that I need the most. Because like in a real classroom, my students, it's a student-centered class, not a teacher-centered class. So I'm not the one speaking, the students are. And in order to do that, I need breakout rooms so they can talk to each other and create things to then come back to me and talk to me. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Any questions?
Do you have the sample of your the video diary?
Yeah, I can find something. It will take me a second. So if somebody wants to go, I don't know, she's the one who's running, but I have
I
to
want to
go.
see.
I didn't know how much time I will have to open everything.
Pacienza.
Pacienza, yes. Oops.
Sorry.
Yeah. I've been doing that for 2 months, trying to verify this thing. And I'm sorry because I have an awful amount of courses here, so it might take me a second. Please be patient with me. Can I turn this off because I have the screen off for a second? Just because I have to go to my students' stuff and I don't want to break any confidentiality. I'm sorry. So at the beginning I was so nice last semester actually that I recorded myself. But then since other instructors, as the prompt I recorded myself, but then since other instructors actually are teaching the courses, so I didn't want just my face to be there. And so I changed it to just prompt. Almost there, I'm sorry. Opening.
Ciao, mi chiamo Kelly, sono una studentessa in università e
She's not
lavoro
reading, actually. I
in
know.
un supermercato. Mi piace giocare ai videogiochi.
So this is the
e
final project. So this is the girl I was talking. So that was the introduction. She introduced herself, and now she is showing her week. So this is the Thanksgiving preparation.
Che cosa
Alla
devo
mamma.
fare?
What do I need to do?
I would love for you to take out the trash.
Well, the mother just said buongiorno, right? But she was trying.
Did the recycling that you were doing for me. DJ red bell pepper.
Come si dice red bell pepper? The mother is asking.
Pepper is pepperoni. Pepperoni. Pepperoni roja. I think that's Spanish. That's Spanish? Yeah.
fare fuori la scrittura.
So she is doing that for
non ha
15 minutes.
cibo e abbiamo mangiato un sacco di cibo.
So, thank you.